trapped by the soul-calming pearl for 13 years. Even my spirit grew restless. That's when I encountered Ivy, the disowned true heiress of the noble house of Peter, lying upon my skeletal remains as tears streamed down her face. You wish to die while I crave life, I whispered. Let's trade fates. Chapter 1. Never imagined my lingering spirit could be seen by anyone. Least of all Ivy, the long-lost heiress retrieved by the noble house. 6 months prior, their procession had paused beneath the peach tree nourished by my decaying flesh. Some bladder-weak matron named Maggie scurried into bushes, leaving the trembling girl alone in the carriage. Our eyes met through the carriage window. My grisly form eyeless sockets. Face slashed beyond recognition by that viper Vicky. Hands that once danced with blades now rotting in some royal fish pond made her porcelain complexion drain of color. I dangled upside down from the gnarled peach tree, my spectral blood dripping onto her lashes as autumn leaves swirled. Hand over your provisions, I hissed, elongated tongue flicking toward the servant's jerky. The good stuff, not that peasant bread. Ivy fumbled with cold buns, embarrassment coloring her cheeks. I haven't been formally acknowledged. The noble house provides nothing. Her whisper carried decades of neglect, the same house that once paraded their adopted daughter Emily in silks while mourning their lost child at banquets. My hollow sockets wept crimson as memories surfaced. Before I could speak, Maggie's bamboo ruler sliced through my form to strike Ivy's hand. Shameless gutter rat. The matron sneered as servants guffawed. Even the maidservants outclass you. Were it not for the marriage alliance, we'd leave you scrubbing night soil buckets where you belong. Ivy's knuckles whitened around grimy sleeves, shoulders curling like a beaten dog. The stench of betrayal hung thicker than my decay, a noble house discarding blood for appearances. Their cruelty outmatching even Vicky's blade. The three of them grew more arrogant, hurling insults and mockery. The strict rules enforced by Maggie's ruler and the jeering laughter of the stable hands grew unbearable. The noise reminded me of my killing days. Ever seen a human flesh swing? I asked as teary-eyed Ivy froze. You will today. My serpentine tongue lashed out, wrapping around Maggie's waist before flinging her onto a peach tree. The claw-like branches clamped around her neck as I blew, making her swing wildly. Faster? Ivy stood transfixed while Maggie choked. The stable hands rushed to help, but I cackled. Care for flaming wheels? The men got spun violently on branches, screaming until they soiled themselves and passed out. The young girl watching trembled, then suddenly laughed. After a short while, 3 unconscious bodies lay soiled and motionless. Who's cleaner now? I smirked, sharing jerky with Ivy. What's your name? She asked. I'll return to the capital and save up to help you find peace. My name's cursed, I replied. Soul-suppressing pearls work. Save your breath. Besides, my form flickered. I'll vanish soon anyway. Just say ghosts attacked them. I swung back onto the tree. Live well. Staying alive matters most, to watch scum burn. She hesitated. You like meat? Next time I'll bring roast chicken. She vowed to return but vanished for half a year. At National Guardian Temple, I obtained talismans. Thunder cracked, revealing Ivy's ashen face at my tree's base. I didn't forget you, she gasped. Trapped. No chicken. Forgive, blood soaked the hidden talisman as she slashed her wrist. Come hug me, she pleaded. You're my only protector. I tried desperately but failed. You want death. I want life, let's trade. She whispered. When someone truly wishes to die, no one can stop them. She tore her wound deeper. Crimson blood mingled with the rain, staining my entire skeletal frame. Life's been hard enough. At least let me die in peace. As long as you live, someone will remember me, won't they? Her spirit began dissipating, leaving only faint wisps of consciousness. I moved closer. What's your wish? I'll grant it. Anything. She smiled bitterly, burying her face in my chest. Live well for me. I'll find better parents next life. We both win this way. Win? Not unless they all pay with their lives. That night, the noble house of Peter lost its forgotten true heiress. But from the mass grave rose a phantom. As peach trees withered overnight, I descended the mountain wearing Ivy Peter's body. Reincarnation could wait. This lifetime demanded blood payment. Before returning to the capital, I visited the National Guardian Temple. There sat the Dowager Queen who'd fasted for decades to pray for her son, the same woman who'd made me kneel on ice until I lost my 8-month child. When I revealed how her precious son truly died, she eagerly joined my crusade. Our pact sealed, I returned to the noble house on Emily's coming-of-age day. The great hall brimmed with laughter as everyone clustered around the counterfeit heiress. Priceless jewels cascaded before Emily while congratulatory words flowed like honey. No one remembered it was also Ivy's birthday. Madame Peter embraced the simpering impostress. These were your grandmother's dowry pieces. I only received them after burying your brother Dan. Emily pouted theatrically, nestling closer. Mother loves me best. Dan approached with saccharine tenderness. My gift can't compare. But this 5-colored agate from Prince Ethan holds special meaning. Prince Ethan, third royal son. How serendipitous. The Lord Peter stroked his beard smugly. I've petitioned His Majesty to arrange your marriage with Prince Ethan after the ceremony. Emily pretended embarrassment while the crowd cooed. Only my borrowed body remembered Ivy's bone-deep anguish. The phantom chill making me shiver violently. Aren't you the shameless one? Little sister? Dan teased. Enough. Madame Peter chided. Your punishment is funding Emily's shopping spree tomorrow. As the hall erupted in laughter, I stepped into the golden light. And what about my gifts? Silence fell like a guillotine. Everyone's faces showed irritation at having their pleasant mood disrupted. Dan White glared coldly at me. So you finally crawled back. Thought you had some backbone. But turns out you couldn't survive out there either. Did you know Emily worried herself sick after you ran off? She barely ate or slept. How dare you elope with someone? You've shamed the noble house of Peter beyond repair. Emily froze when she saw me return but quickly masked her flicker of hatred. Biting her lip, her innocent eyes welling up, she tugged Dan's sleeve pitifully. Brother, don't be harsh. I've already forgiven Ivy. Even though she kicked me out and nearly got me killed. I've enjoyed this family's kindness for years. I'm grateful. She turned to me with feigned concern. Since you're back, I should return everything that's rightfully yours. But you've caused Mother and Father so much pain these past days. You should apologize. Lady White shot me a venomous look. Spare me your apologies. Last time you apologized, you pushed me into the pond. Do it again and you might finish off this old woman for good. She sneered. I only have one daughter, Emily. Don't insult me by calling others family. Emily blinked at me dramatically. Ivy, just say you're sorry. The Marquis roared when I stayed silent. Kneel. Now. My body remained rigid. Though phantom grief pulsed through my veins, lingering remnants of Ivy's soul. Still aching even in death. Meeting their stares, I offered one last chance. Don't I deserve what she has? You dare compare yourself to Emily? Dan exploded. You ill-bred peasant. The only reason you're not rotting in a ditch is because Emily protects you. That elope stunt should have gotten you killed 1,000 times over. Emily approached with false sweetness, sharp nails digging into my arm as she whispered. Play along, sister. When I didn't flinch, she hissed through gritted teeth. Should have died out there. You trash. I almost laughed. So you're the one who spread the elopement lie? Her mask slipped briefly before she gasped. Are you blaming me? I was trying to help. With a theatrical crack, she snapped a hairpin and collapsed. See how cruel she is? The room erupted as Dan lunged at me, but not before I caught Emily's triumphant smirk. These petty schemes had destroyed Ivy. Now they'd reap what they'd sown. Her chin got dislocated when I casually yanked it. Admitting it is enough. No need for further explanations. My movements were too swift. By the time Emily clutched her jaw, whimpering in terror, the crowd finally reacted. Everyone surged forward to restrain me. But Maggie, her loyal nursemaid, couldn't even get close before I shattered her femur with a kick. She collapsed, howling. Simultaneously, my dagger pressed against Emily's neck. Her pressure points immobilized. Try moving. Perhaps my tone sounded too casual, making them think I lacked resolve. They kept advancing. Swish. The blade carved a finger-long gash across Emily's cheek. Blood gushed. Ah. It hurts. Father. Mother. Dan. It hurts. Emily's ruined. Emily's disfigured. Her screams died when I sliced off her ear and ground it beneath my boot. The arrogance that once radiated from her now shriveled into trembling fear. The crowd retreated behind the noble house of Peter's patriarch. I stepped over the writhing Maggie. Talk. Who drove your mistress out? How did she end up in the river? Sweating from agony. She spat. Even if you kill me, young Lady Ivy, it was you who tried murdering Second Lady Emily. You banished her. She nearly got kidnapped. Her legs still injured. How amusingly stubborn. As I lifted my foot, Madam White shrieked. You treasonous wretch. Fine, take whatever gifts you want. But if you harm Emily again, I'll never acknowledge you. How tiresome. Crack. Emily's earring tore free as I flung it at Madam White's hairpiece. Her remaining intact ear split open. The once dignified matriarch now sat disheveled, pale, and utterly broken. Next time, I'll take your eyes. Useless organs for someone so blind. Madam White collapsed speechless. Others froze, cowed by my ruthlessness. You wasted your chance. My blade flicked across Maggie's wrist, severing tendons. Still lying? She could only wail. I massaged my ringing ear before plunging the dagger into her lung, twisting the hilt. Not fatal, just excruciating. Blood pooled, paralyzing the onlookers. During those years helping Alex build his empire, I'd honed these interrogation techniques in dungeons. Using them on a housemaid felt excessive. But effectiveness trumps elegance. True enough, 2 strikes made Maggie wet herself. As she gasped to speak, Dan interrupted. Name your price. Emily's estate? Legitimacy? Ethan's marriage proposal? Stop this madness before his babbling ignited white-hot rage. You. Come here. Let me tell you what I want. He hesitated but finally approached under Emily's tearful gaze. The knife hidden behind him never saw daylight before I seized his throat, delivering a dozen resounding slaps that left him spitting blood and teeth as he collapsed unconscious. The blade clattering to the floor. Talkative fools deserve worse. My smiling eyes met the noble house of Peter Patriarch's trembling rage. Though he choked out the order through gritted teeth, do as she says. Nobody moves. Satisfied, I tilted my dagger against Maggie's cheek. Well, the old servant spilled everything like scattered beans. How Ivy, the true heiress returning from countryside exile, had been tormented since her homecoming. Shut in the smallest courtyard for upsetting Emily on arrival. Blamed for shattered imperial jewelry. Framed for arson after Emily's tantrum. Pushed into lakes over Ethan's attention. Finally exiled after Emily's staged kidnapping left a thumbnail-sized scar. Only to be hunted by bandits hired through forged letters. All by Emily's schemes. Maggie babbled. She couldn't bear being overshadowed by Bloodright. Starved Ivy during month-long confinement, surviving on servant scraps. Switched handmade birthday gifts for dirt clods. Planted laxatives in medicine. Ruined the heir's paintings herself. My blade found the trembling maid next. Before I lifted steel. She knelt screaming corroboration. Emily forced us. That runaway letter? My forgery. The bandits? Her orders. See. Ivy? I murmured to the shadows. A blade makes everyone compliant. As guards dragged Emily away, Prince Ethan stormed in, too late. As always. Poor substitute for Alex's cunning. Even his looks didn't inherit a third of his mother's charm. As a child, he had some cuteness. But now every part of him reeks of loathsomeness. How dare you glare at me? Ethan? Ivy. You're utterly despicable. Clutching the nearly lifeless Emily, he ranted under the protection of his guards. Assaulting a high-ranking official and my fiancée Ivy, you've lost your mind. Guards! Arrest this vile wretch and deliver her to the Ministry of Justice for severe punishment. Oh. Arresting their daughter in the noble house of Peter, did you even ask their permission? Even after learning the full truth. Even after knowing all Ivy had endured. The Peters chose silence when Ethan targeted their pitiable daughter and sister. A daughter's grievances mattered less than the family's wealth and status. Ivy, they don't deserve you. I gave them chances. Now they'll reap what they've sown. Ethan sneered. His arrogance mirroring someone I once knew. When I declare you're no Peter heiress. Who dares contradict me? The Marquis averted his eyes. The Marchioness hesitated but stayed silent. Only Dan, bloodied and furious, growled. Kill her. Emily is my only sister. The prince looked down at me triumphantly. Think harming Emily will make me marry you? Delusional. Now that the Peters have disowned you, I'll make your existence a living hell. Kneel before Emily and take your own life, maybe I'll grant you a proper burial. I inhaled sharply. To play the white knight. Ethan would trample justice itself to destroy me. Emily scheming against you? He scoffed. Absurd. You're the madwoman slaughtering people in the Peters' home. She tried stopping your rampage. And you mutilated her face. Minister Peter lost teeth trying to reason with you. That's the only truth here. His brazen lies reassured me. When I laughed coldly, he barked. Take her to the ministry. Tell the minister to extract a full confession, by any means necessary. Regrettably, the minister emerged from shadows. My loyalty lies elsewhere. My smile turned glacial. My apologies. By imperial decree, all who conspired to frame me shall be imprisoned. You've overplayed your hand. Ethan. Using my own blade against my son? Alex stormed in. Having abandoned Ethan's pathetic kneeling act outside. The once ruthless ruler now prioritized political stability over justice. Unimpressed. I lounged on my daybed, ignoring him until he brushed my cheek. You've grown more like her every day. He'd fallen for consort Rue me at the National Guardian Temple. Unaware I was impersonating my own ghost. The real Yun Tang, his long-dead first love, would have laughed. When I'd nearly slit his throat during our first meeting, he'd seen her reflection in my blade and arrogance. His price for making me his consort? Eliminate the imposter heiress who stole my life. He no longer possessed the former ruthlessness and refused to involve himself in minister's household affairs. Only assigning the Chief Justice and Chief Eunuch Maggie to assist me. Whether justice would prevail now depended entirely on my methods. These extraordinary times demanded forceful measures, a proposition even the 18-year-old Alex himself had suggested. Thus I opted for brutal interrogations. With the Chief Justice personally overseeing proceedings. The airtight evidence made all suspects confess. Yet third Prince Ethan suddenly emerged to play the hero. Determined to make me the scapegoat. When Alex sought to protect his son, I dug in my heels. Our stalemate broke as I coldly remarked. Disappointed? That's all? Alex's displeasure showed. But I met his gaze head on, mockery laced with provocation. The very expression he'd once told Vicky he adored. He recoiled from that look, opening his mouth to speak when Her Majesty the Queen arrives. My eyes lit up. Vicky, Long time no see. I orchestrated Third Prince's downfall precisely to gift you this reunion. She maintained her aristocratic composure, though her eyelid twitched upon seeing me and my blade. Kneeling before Alex without glancing sideways, she declared, "This mother failed her duty. My son, young and impressionable, fell victim to schemers' provocations. I hereby remove my crown and seek confinement in the cold palace." Her matron urgently knelt. Her Majesty just recovered from illness. The Clark family won't tolerate. Since when do servants speak out of turn? I interrupted, shooting Alex an exasperated look. Find me a mouthpiece too. Let others deliver unpleasantries while I whisper sweet nothings. Sound fair? The Queen's porcelain mask cracked as guards dragged the matron out. Slapping sounds echoed while Vicky's glare frosted over. Beneath the table, I nudged Alex's leg with my foot. Who's the schemer? Me? Or that counterfeit heiress you coddle? If punishing your son pains you, punish Emily instead. A compromise benefits all. Understanding my concession, Alex's stormy expression cleared. My consort could never be a schemer that would make me a tyrant. The Clark girl manipulated our son and threatened my beloved. This merits severe punishment. Father. No. I smiled as expected. The fool arrived. Ethan burst into my chambers mid-sentence, his unlawful entrance perfectly timed. Vicky Clark delivered a swift slap across Ethan's face. If I don't discipline you harshly, you'll keep falling for those schemers' tricks. That impostor deceived Alex from the start and nearly cost Emily her life. Letting her drink poison was mercy itself. The Emperor had sacrificed Emily to protect his son, while Empress Vicky gladly offered the girl's life to preserve her own child's future. Yet the foolish prince knelt pleading, "Mother, I truly love Emily. She's pure-hearted and innocent." His voice faltered as he glanced at me. Merely framed by others. Now disfigured and pitiful. Shouldn't the Empress protect such helpless souls? Alex closed his eyes wearily. Vicky trembled with rage, nearly fainting. I intervened coolly. Let Prince Ethan witness the Grand Court's investigation. Even the condemned deserve transparent justice. Vicky paled. The Grand Court's methods were brutal: bed of nails, red-hot branding irons, finger amputations, snake pits. Emily would descend through 5 levels of hellish torture. Ivy's suffering demanded repayment in blood through every agonizing stage. When Vicky begged tearfully, Alex snapped. I've already compromised. Defend that spineless boy again, and I'll banish him to wilderness reclamation. The humiliated Empress fell silent. 3 days later, the Crown Prince collapsed with fever after watching Emily's mutilated corpse reach for him, screaming, "Save me, Ethan!" Her final vow to haunt him made the coward order her ashes scattered in rivers. Unbeknownst to all, my poisoned blade had transferred hallucinogens during their last embrace. Now the paranoid prince jumped at shadows while I dismantled Vicky's network, executing her spies and sending bloody rosters to her chambers. Her enraged grimace delighted me. Through it all, I played Alex like a virtuoso, teasing reminiscences of 15-year-old Ivy's mischief, stoking his obsession with calculated nostalgia. Let him chase ghosts while I dismantled his dynasty brick by brick. That night, I ordered Emily's bloodstained torture garments sent to the noble house of Peter. The house yearned for their daughter, so I granted them this memento. Rumor spread that Lady Ivy, overwhelmed by anguish, vomited blood, turning the once respected noble house into a laughingstock. Chaos reigned as Alex sat cross-legged cracking sunflower seeds. Sighing repeatedly, my own son proved so useless. This humiliation cuts deeper than murdering me. My subtle glance ignited palace-wide gossip, particularly magnified within Wei Young Palace. Vicky threw another tantrum in her quarters, punishing a junior concubine for daring to wear crimson roses. The virtuous queen's mask slipped slightly, though this was merely the opening act. Alex sought his deceased lover's shadow in me, clinging to my defiance. He practically moved into my chambers, showering me with devotion. When passion overtook him, he murmured yunta against my ear. I gripped his jaw, forcing eye contact. I'm consort Emily, the orphan girl. He pressed his forehead to mine, chuckling bitterly. True. She'd never submit like you. That wildcat once slapped Vicky before my very eyes. My palm had met Vicky's cheek when she sneered at my swelling belly. All your killings will curse that bastard. Will it even draw breath? If it does, the consequences saw me kneeling for hours. Losing the child. Later I learned she'd worn abortifacient herbs that day. My son died by her schemes, hers won't know peace either. Tracing Alex's sharp features, I found no remnant of the man I'd known. Where did she go? His body stiffened as he withdrew from our embrace. Sleep, he muttered, turning away. Rest evaded me. I missed Dan terribly. When Alex raced to my rescue with secret letters. Vicky's brother besieged my manor. They dragged Dan forward, blade at his throat. Traitor! Choose, your death or his. The Yun family had been falsely accused and slaughtered, leaving only us. I bled for Alex to clear our name and secure Dan's future. At 7, barely older than Ethan, he'd vowed to restore our honor through imperial exams. Even as Vicky's prisoner, he insisted, "You've done enough. Sister, I won't survive without you." The crunch of his ribs under boots shattered me. Surrender or I'll skin him alive. When I hesitated, they snapped his wrists. The child forced a smile through agony. Doesn't hurt. I'm tough. His martial artist legs snapped like twigs. As Vicky's blade neared his eyes, my sword clattered to the ground. A sharp blade pierced through my chest from behind. It was the sister I'd protected all along. That woman now sits silently in the palace enjoying her wealth and glory. It's time she repaid her life debt. During my 2nd month at the palace, the autumn banquet commenced. Alex gripped my hand, seating me beside him. Vicky Clark's forced composure cracked, her hatred palpable. When Alex drank with ministers, I secretly replaced his wine with water and provocatively touched my abdomen. I'm with child. Vicky's knuckles whitened around her goblet. After 3 rounds of drinks, I excused myself for air. Alex simply warned, "Keep safe." I patted the dagger at my waist. With you, I'm always protected. The long-sealed Shinfu Palace opened its gates. Consort Jin waited beneath the moon, lunging toward me. Are they alive? What do you want? I coldly shook off her grasp. As she knelt, I remained standing. This palace lacks the splendor of your old courtyard. Has Vicky treated you poorly? Her bitter smile revealed cracked lips. I'm but a childless pawn. This is the best outcome. Please, are my family alive? I tossed her a medicine pouch. Visit the Empress more often. Her precious son's too ill to attend banquets. He needs your comfort. Her trembling fingers closed around the poison. Will you release my mother and brother now? You've no right to ask. Walking away, I scoffed. Did she think betraying my family to the Clark family granted her bargaining power? From the moment I delivered her mother's hairpin and brother's seal ring, Consort Jin became my sleepless, trembling puppet. Consort Jin intercepted me en route, smiling venomously. You resemble someone. Rolling my eyes, I drawled, the first love replacement? At least I'm a pampered consort. Should I weep about it? Her face drained of color as my mockery derailed her scheming. Shouldn't you be promoting your second prince? I continued. With the emperor frustrated by his heirs, this prime opportunity won't last. Her eyes lit up as she clasped my hand. How refreshingly direct compared to the empress pretense. Prince Ethan Taylor fell ill. The second prince made a triumphant appearance at court. His mother, that delicate woman I once favored, who used to trail behind me with soft smiles and sweetly call me sister, now revealed her meticulous cunning. She'd always waited beneath the colonnade whenever I returned to the noble house of Peter Bloodied, tending my wounds with gentle hands. The two I'd trusted most in the manor were Wanqiong, whom I'd personally trained, and Song Jinner, plucked from a mass grave. Yet Jinner traded my vulnerabilities for status, becoming concubine Jin, while Wanqiong drove a blade through my back to secure the imperial heir's birth and was now honored as consort Qin. Neither will escape retribution. With Ethan's decline, consort Chen's decades of restraint finally snapped. My carefully planted evidence let her strike. The second prince consolidates power at court, suffocating Ethan's faction, while consort Chen's open alliance with me blindsides Empress Victoria Clark. Sister's evidence proved most helpful. She purred. Minister Clark drowns in corruption charges. Such a pity third prince's pillar of support crumbles. When I remained silent, her probing resumed. Pity we couldn't make him implicate Ethan. I met her serpentine gaze. Proof matters less than perception. The second prince understands rumor's power. Sometimes, momentum must be manufactured. Remembering today was the girl's jerky treat. I rose for the prayer hall. Consort Chen's smile vanished, her venomous stare clinging to my retreating back like adder's spit. Let her play puppet master. Blades cut both ways. My pregnancy stayed tightly guarded. Alex Grant wrapped me in triple-layer security, vowing, "You'll both survive." I hid my smirk, murmuring agreement. Yet days later, after concubine Jin sipped tea in my chambers, I collapsed hemorrhaging. Alex arrived as blood pooled beneath me. Perhaps he recalled that other tragedy when he'd carried Yun Tang from similar crimson. Their formed prince lost. Cradling me, his trembling voice begged, "Stay awake. The physicians come. Hold on. I'm here." I mimicked Yun Tang's wounded expression, caressing his cheek in silent agony. Let the overlapping memories brand deeper. When physicians declared me barren from concentrated safflower poisoning, Alex stormed to Victoria Clark's Weiyang Palace. Though concubine Jin kept silent, servants proved more forthcoming. Her ladyship summoned our mistress often lately. 2 hours private audience this morning. Palace agents were dispatched before she visited your quarters. Proceed assured. This palace supports you. Every word followed my script. Alex kicked Jin to the marble, her lapdog? Such loyalty. Yet you betrayed AU. As guards dragged her away, Jin screamed for mercy, reminding me of our bargain. Her mother and brother's safety. But why should she keep kin when mine perished? In the cold palace, I gifted her favorites, a lute fashioned from her mother's ribcage, a drum stretched with her brother's skin. Her shrieks curdled air, cursing my inhumanity, my treachery. Mid-rant, my shadow fell across her cell, a hooded revenant holding bone chimes. After being forced to drink safflower and losing so much blood, you still managed to come here. You're truly merciless. I've never been kind-hearted, and Ivy knew that long before today. Holding her close, I slowly pulled the hairpin from her head, methodically destroying her mobility before dragging her dozens of feet and throwing her down the dry well. She must have realized something, desperate for confirmation. But that deep well in the desolate palace wing would swallow her cries until death. When I was dismembered bone by bone, Dan witnessed that agony. Now he's tasted that pain. Every executioner deserves to suffer it. When Vicky's mother was sold to brothels and nearly tortured to death, I stormed in to save her. When her brother proved useless in both scholarship and martial arts, I used my life-saving favor for Alex to secure him a position. Yet in the end, those two used false news of my demise to lure Dan to the capital. Those who betray me shall repay every debt. 3 conspirators once exhausted all schemes to kill Ivy. Now one rots in the palace depths. 2 tear each other apart through planted discord. And I remain untouchable without weaknesses. How could I lose this time? Returning to the palace exhausted, I found Alex reading by the bed. He ignored my bloodstained state, clutching my icy hand anxiously. "You'll catch cold. Let me warm you," he murmured, embracing me tightly as if compensating for another woman through me. Neither version of me found comfort. The ivy he failed to protect needed companionship he gave to Vicky's courtyard. The me drenched in blood finds him minimizing conflicts, refusing to let me claim rightful vengeance. She deserved death. Who she was doesn't matter. Killing isn't the issue, her unimportance is. I nearly faltered in his tender protection. Nearly. Until he pardoned the mastermind queen, merely stripping her authority and confining her to the Western Palace as punishment. When you recover, I'll make you imperial consort. No more disturbances. All right? Disturbances? After discovering Maggie's corpse, I sent her stinking blood-crusted hairpin to the queen's chambers. Hearing the queen retched all day before complaining to Alex, he came to placate me, snapping off a protruding wintersweet branch. I answered, what if I demand her life in payment? Emily. He invoked my noble house of Peter identity, the useless girl with no prospects, reminding me everything came through him. I should stay docile and pliant. Yet this early spring chilled me. Did she die by her hands too? Did you protect her like this? My direct question suffocated Alex. I have urgent matters today. I'll visit tomorrow. Whenever Yuntang was mentioned, Alex would retreat into guilt and avoidance, unable to confront the accusations that she'd been driven to her death. His frame stiffened as vicious eyes locked onto mine. Yet I stood unflinching. Was his death insufficient? Must I follow next? Or have you never loved her, nor ever cared for me? His palm struck my cheek, the first true fury I'd witnessed. I've spoiled you into forgetting your place. You're but entertainment I cultivated. From this day, you'll remain confined to the palace. He craved my wild spirit yet resented its defiance. Much like his torment over Yuntang, adoring her devotion yet recoiling from her ruthlessness. Thus he sought refuge in Vicky's elegance, Maggie's charm, and Sophia's obedience, endlessly wounding Yuntang's heart. In truth, he cherished only himself. Dropping the scissors, I watched Alex's retreating figure. I gave you every chance to atone. You refused. Don't blame me hereafter. Confined to Gwangju Palace for weeks. I heard the whispers, Emily's arrogance offended the queen. Now she's fallen. With Emily dethroned and the queen ill, Maggie thrived, her son parading evidence of Ethan's corruption in court. As ministers denounced Ethan, Alex stripped his authority, ordering him to recuperate. Vicky collapsed upon the news, begging audience with Alex. That afternoon, my eagle kite soared above the palace, a replica of the one my brother Dan had gifted Alex years prior. Alex paused outside the queen's chambers, watching the lifelike silhouette before their explosive argument. The kite symbolized Dan's vow, sister has only us. We must protect her with our lives. Dan kept that promise. Alex didn't. My father, the disgraced Marquis of the noble house of Peter, saw opportunity in my downfall. His letter demanded, return to the family. We'll send a cousin to bear the emperor's child, your future safeguard. Autumn crickets daring to chirp near flames deserve incineration. As the queen and Maggie's feud escalated, I leaked the letter to Alex's desk. What ruler tolerates nobles manipulating his bedchamber? Overnight, the noble house of Peter faced rebellion charges, their estates confiscated before sunset. A true protector crushes threats effortlessly. He just didn't want to. Alex remembered my pitiful isolation. After freezing me out for a month, he came to see me again. You should learn obedience after this lesson, he said. My dagger had been confiscated, leaving me to pick at my nails. Didn't you say you loved my wild, untamed spirit? I retorted. Seeing I could still spar with him, his anger dissipated. The palace isn't a battlefield of brute force. There are many ways to protect yourself. I'll provide for you, but you must behave. I pursed my lips. Unless you give me a child. It proved simple enough. The dowager had a sickly, cat-like prince trembling behind attendants. The child lacked any royal bearing. His wet nurse apologizing profusely, "Your Grace, forgive fourth prince's timidity. He lost his mother at birth, raised intermittently by Her Majesty who often travels." Vicky handled his care, 8 months yearly spent recuperating. Yet he survives. Now he'd fallen into my hands, rising with unprecedented gentleness. I smiled. "Come. Let me see my son properly. Why bear Alex's child myself when Ivy's constitution proved unsuitable? I'd no intention of handing him my vulnerability. This ready-made heir lacked noble connections. With only Alex's favor, I secured Ethan the finest tutors, grandest quarters. Even Alex began spending evenings playing chess, painting landscapes, and planting peonies with my docile Ethan. As my influence grew and Ethan's talents emerged, consortion stirred. Second prince courted ministers aggressively, nearly eliminating third prince entirely. When courtiers pressured Alex to name an heir prematurely, the emperor's irritation flared. Consort Chen's decades of scheming unraveled instantly after second prince's faction collapsed for conspiracy and fratricide, exiled to distant fiefdoms without recall. The dominoes had fallen since I'd first urged Consort Chen to showcase her son. Opportunistic ministers swarmed like vultures. I ignored their overtures, yet casually mentioned the fallen Peter family during tea with noblewomen. Such pity their daughter's misfortune severed family ties. Combined with rumors of my pre-palace actions, the message spread. The Peter family's exiled son allegedly drowned himself, bones picked clean by fish. Old Lord Peter lay paralyzed after a fall, Lady Peter toiling like a scullery made for scraps. Their tragic isolation served as warning. When they inquired about their daughter through intermediaries, courtiers sneered, "Since when do traitors question His Majesty's favored consort?" I should have abandoned those ambitions of climbing the social ladder long ago. I was sun-drying jerky, the finest, most fragrant jerky, when my son asked, "Mother, does it still hurt?" I touched my chest. "Not anymore. Ivy isn't in pain now. The one suffering is Yun Tang." Yet unexpectedly, officials used my alleged cruelty and filial impiety against me during my investiture as imperial consort. They accused me of being unworthy. Alex crushed my hand painfully, suspicion flashing in his eyes. I reassured him. "Titles mean nothing to me. Having you and Ranner by my side is enough." "Truly enough?" Consort Chin appeared smiling, trailed by the long-absent Vicky. Those two bitches with their disgraced sons had joined forces again. "Is Emily truly from the Peter family?" The barbs struck deep. "Of course not," I answered bluntly. Their faces darkened. "I'm an orphan, didn't you know?" I continued, maintaining her benevolent facade. Consort Chin produced criminal evidence to destroy me. "These documents prove you're no orphan, but the descendant of traitors from the Yun family." Alex crushed my hand painfully again, suspicion flashing in his eyes. "A child of the Yun traitors. Are you?" Vicky sighed theatrically. The concubine drowned herself in Weiyang Lake after her treasonous lineage was exposed. Who'd have thought she'd left behind such a lovely sister? Her feigned pity couldn't mask her triumph. They believed their renewed alliance would destroy me. Where did this evidence come from? Consort Chin smiled serenely. A maid from Consort Chin's quarters delivered it before hanging herself. "Proof that you manipulated the Empress to kill your own child. Have any last words?" Alex's expression turned thunderous. Knowing he was barely containing his fury, I spread the letters before him. "Whose handwriting does your Majesty recognize?" His pupils constricted. Unable to restrain himself, he backhanded Consort Chin. The Empress gasped. "Your Majesty struck the wrong person. The real villain is Emily." Alex gazed at her with profound disappointment. "The Empress should return to her palace to rest. We'll pretend today never happened." Even now, he protected their marital bond. seizing this hard-won chance to destroy me. Vicky led the concubines to kneel before Alex. As Empress, I must advise, keeping this traitor's descendant by your side endangers our nation. For the Empire's sake, execute the Yun remnant. Tearfully clutching her cheek, Consort Chen echoed. Yun Tang died in disgrace. The Yuns nurse hatred in their hearts. Her presence threatens the throne itself. Back then, he hadn't witnessed their joint persecution of Ivy. But today Alex saw clearly how they were cornering Emily. Your Majesty, if you doubt me, I've brought the confessions from the Peter family. How could timid Ivy, who barely speaks in public, act as boldly and recklessly as Emily? This woman has simply stolen Ivy's skin to bewitch your Majesty. The entire harem knelt in unison, demanding my death. I calmly brushed my sleeves, laughing at Alex. Well, your death or mine? Gasps filled the courtyard as furious glares turned my way. Emily, you overstep. The Queen urgently pressed. Your Majesty, will you still shield her now? What does my queen suggest? Alex's icy smile didn't reach his eyes as he settled on the stone bench. The Queen shot me a triumphant look. Traitors naturally deserve public execution. Alex nodded thoughtfully before waving his hand. Guards, take her for execution. The Queen and Consort Chen exchanged smug glances until Maggie's guards seized Consort Chen instead. How dare you? You should arrest Emily. The Queen protested as Consort Chen's perpetually serene face twisted in panic. Your Majesty, explain this. Alex looked down at them like circus clowns. Consort Chen claimed those letters matched Emily's handwriting, evidence from a dead maid. But she didn't know Emily never learned to write during her years lost from the Peter family. Shock rippled through the crowd. The Queen desperately countered. But calligraphy samples exist. For the first time, Alex showed Vicky open disdain. Those were my practice sheets. Thunderstruck silence fell. I finally explained. His Majesty pitied my illiteracy. He'd left handwrite sentimental verses for me to pass off as mine. Consort Chen didn't realize she stole his handwriting when she took those booklets during tea last month. I recalled joking about their shared taste while Alex teased my jealousy. No amount of pleading saved Consort Chen from the cold palace. The Queen collapsed, knowing her game was over. Alex led me past the kneeling crowd without glancing back. I was wrong to show mercy, he murmured, holding me close in Chrysanthemum Palace. His trembling betrayed memories we both knew that day Ivy drowned in Weiyang Lake. Her death shrouded in palace lies. Yun Tao feared water, hated it more than anything. If they hadn't forced her, she'd never have jumped into the lake. What he didn't know was that drowning paled compared to the 7th dungeon level. I endured until the 5th layer before dying. My little brother forced to watch my skin being flayed and tendons ripped out all along. The old agony resurfaced. Though he merely sought comfort through me. You protected me today, that's enough. He murmured, tightening his embrace. He could have shielded me but didn't. Alex's torment and guilt changed nothing, he lacked the resolve to pursue justice. Disappointment settled like stone. Ultimately, I'd always protected myself. The letter in Consort Chen's hands was genuine, my intentional flaw. Imitating Alex's handwriting? Ivy couldn't manage it. But Yun Tao certainly could. After Consort Chen's sudden death, the second prince was exiled to his fiefdom. Stripped of power, Ethan lost the Clark family's backing, while the dying empress offered no aid. As the reigning consort, I held true authority. During respite, I visited Consort Chen. Disheveled on the veranda, she glared viciously. Gripping her chin, I hissed. I won't kill you. No. You'll spend every day wondering when your exiled son will die like my brother, dismembered and unburied. Even this venomous woman crumpled, kowtowing desperately. Don't consider suicide either. I added. Your boy joins you instantly if you do, though I'll ensure his suffering lasts. Her wails echoed as I left smiling. Let fear carve her soul daily. Victory? Not yet. When taking the fourth prince to see the Dowager Empress, she sighed over prayer beads. I've kept my promises. When will you honor yours? My rise relied on her shadowy aid. Even gathering Ivy's shattered spirit required her intervention with the National Guardian Temple's abbot. Handing her a final letter, I said, "One last favor. Your Majesty." Later, the prince asked, "Why choose me, the weakest son?" Sunlight stung my eyes as I lied. "We're fated." He'd never know, the servant girl his mother once planted in the noble house of Peter as her spy had swapped my corpse's location. Instead of sinking in Weiyang Lake, I rested near a peach tree in Popper's ground. Should he ever seek justice for you, I'll bring him here, she'd promised. But Alex prioritized his new crown and reputation over my corpse. No one came. Consort, I painted your portrait. Alex extended his hand tenderly. Smiling, I took it, knowing full well the rot beneath his velvet touch. The figure in the painting bore peach blossom features, her enigmatic smile tinged with defiance and frost. It was me yet not me. I only have you now. You must stay with me till our hair turns white, I declared. The sunset blazed crimson, reflecting in his bloodshot eyes. He appeared sincere, so I responded in kind. All right. Yet within half a month, when the imperial priest declared me possessed by evil spirits inhabiting Ivy's body, Alex instantly sought refuge behind the priest. Whether true or not, letting the priest perform rituals will ease both our minds, he rationalized. The ailing empress stood beside Alex, glaring venomously as she mouthed words only we two could comprehend. You'll die by my hand again. This very priest had embedded soul-binding pearls into my bones 15 years prior, and now returned to obliterate my spirit completely. But Vicky, people don't stumble twice over the same stone. Smiling faintly at Alex, I agreed. Indeed. Now we're all reassured. As mystical flames engulfed me from the priest's talismans, the agony of burning flesh couldn't compare to the torment of watching Alex avoid my gaze. My gravest error had been clinging to another lost soul during our darkest hours. I'd risked everything for him, yet he lacked even the courage to speak in my defense. Dan's bones lay forever submerged, denied even reunion in death. When the prolonged ritual concluded, the Empress paled. How? She shrieked. Exhausted from the day's ordeal, I collapsed dramatically. What did you expect? My instantaneous death as you predicted? No sooner had I spoken than Alex convulsed, blood gushing as he collapsed. The white jade containing Ivy's remnant spirit trembled against my chest. Perfect. The Emperor's imperial aura had successfully reconstituted her soul. Treacherous sorcerer! You've murdered the Emperor! The Dowager Empress stormed in with the genuine imperial priest, condemning the conspirators. This was my design, eliminating two threats with one stratagem, satisfying both the Dowager's ambitions and mine. Alex lay moribund, eyes widening as I whispered my final revelation. The sorcerer who stole your imperial aura once implanted soul-binding pearls in Dan's bones. Though destroyed, her spirit lingered until found by a girl named Ivy. Know why he staked his life against yours? My blood sacrifice would have annihilated him. People only comprehend pain when it sears their own flesh. His gaze burned with complex emotions as I delivered the coup de grace. How does betrayal taste from your precious noble-born wife? When you repeatedly abandoned me, this agony became my constant companion. Now you'll die knowing true suffering. Are you here for Ivy or Emily? It doesn't matter, they're both me. But you deserve neither. The Empress Dowager will take good care of you. After all, she raised you for so many years only to watch you murder her own son with your own hands. No one hates you more than she does. The throne? Ah yes. You've always loved power most. Let my son have it now. I helped you conquer half this kingdom anyway. You managed half. I'll govern the other half. I rose and left, never visiting Alex again. But Vicky in the cold palace? I visited her most frequently. Each time I brought gifts, sometimes her scheming father, sometimes her overbearing brother, finally the mother who'd fed me abortion herbs to kill my son. Each received the same treatment her brother had once given me, all 72 tortures continued until their last breath. Vicky began with hatred, screaming curses, desperate to kill me. Then came fear, submission, tearful surrender. I rejected her pleas and kept tormenting her. Eventually madness took hold. She tried grabbing a dagger to end it. But guards stopped her. Tend her well daily. Let her die and I'll exterminate your entire bloodline. The Cole Palace grounds now held her family's bones, keeping her constant company. Vicky couldn't die yet couldn't truly live, hanging on like my keepsakes from the peach tree. With vengeance complete, Ethan became emperor. He respects me deeply, exonerating the Peter family at my suggestion. Free from troubles. I enjoy endless blessings as the youngest Empress Dowager. Banquets follow banquets, the world says I fear solitude and crave luxury. I pay no heed until spotting the glowing pregnant wife of the Ronan marquis heir at a feast. The Ronan lineage maintains impeccable reputation, rarely taking concubines unless heirless. The heir and his wife grew up as childhood sweethearts, their 5-month unborn child already has lifetime provisions prepared. Such devotion! Come here, Marchioness. Your joy pleases me, I'll grant you a treasure. The young woman glanced at her husband, receiving a reassuring nod before approaching. I pressed the hidden white jade pendant into her palm. Wear this daily for protection. She thanked me gracefully. Watching her leave, I remembered the girl who'd shared dried meat with me beneath peach blossoms. I've found you a blessed family in this life. You absolutely must, find happiness now.